Would the people in the audience please quiet down a little bit?
She was giving me a hard time already.
It's a packed house. Can I have a call to order? Let's have a roll call.
Belsley.
Here.
Dobb. Hare.
Here.
Herman.
Here.
Kaufman.
Here.
Newhouse.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Let's stand for the pledge. Wait till the color guard's ready. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There are no public hearings tonight or special reports. Is there anything anyone in the audience would like to comment on? Anything that anyone in the audience would like to pull on the agenda, the consent agenda, which is minutes and bills? Would any of the trustees like to pull anything from the consent agenda? Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
Second by Sam. Call it.
Belsley.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Herman.
Yes.
Kaufman.
Yes.
Newhouse.
Yes. The only thing that I've got tonight is a modification of an old gambling ordinance. You may recall that the council at our last meeting pointed out that we have an old ordinance that specifically exempts bingo and lotteries, and to make it coincide with our new raffle ordinance, we wanted to just simply add the raffle exemption to it. Could I have a motion to approve?
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
Second. Did you get those?
Sam.
No,
Yeah.
Randy. Any discussion on this item? Roll call.
Hare.
Yes.
Herman.
Yes.
Kaufman.
Yes.
Newhouse.
Yes.
Belsley.
Yes.
Village clerk,
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
village administrator.
Tonight, I'm asking approval to transfer $13,000 from the Water and Wastewater Depreciation Fund to the Capital Projects Fund.
So moved.
Second.
Second by Sam. Any discussion? Call it.
Herman.
Yes.
Kaufman.
Yes.
Newhouse.
Yes.
Belsley.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Does the administrator have anything else? Chief of Police.
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Corporate Counsel. Nothing tonight, Your Honor. Director of Fire and Emergency Services.
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Director of Public Works.
I have several items tonight, Your Honor. First item, I would like to note that the Public Works recap for the month of January is in your packets. Next item, I would like to, ask for any comments from you, but I've been working with Fred Weber Construction and IDOT on the 15574 project, and I've agreed to them. Obviously, I want your recommendation or opinions on this, but I've agreed to them that on Sunday, March 2nd, starting at midnight, that Saturday night, they would like to close Jackson Street for approximately 24 hours. This would be from Veterans Road to Detroit Avenue, and this would be for the Stage 1 demolition of the bridges over Jackson. Basically, they'll be removing the interior 7 feet of both bridges. And from my experience working on bridges, it's not a fun thing to have the road open. It's not safe, and most likely people would have to sit for a half hour at a time. So even though they think they might want to sit there and wait, they don't want to do it. So I think this is a good thing. I also want to let you guys know that there will probably be 2 more as they continue with Stage 2 and Stage 3 later on in the year. To remove westbound would be next, and then lastly would be the eastbound. So I would like to, get any comments from you guys. IDOT's approval, but they always want to ask that the village is open to that also. So there will be a detour plan to basically bring them around Veterans and Cortland to bring them back. But that would be for at the max 24 hours on that Sunday.
This is a lot safer than trying to start and stop traffic when they're doing that.
Yes.
Does anyone, however, have any objections to authorizing this?
The interstate would not be closed, just actually Jefferson, correct?
The interstate's
Okay.
got to have 2 lanes open
That's what
in
yeah.
both directions, except when they're working, but throughout construction. So, I mean, the 7 foot of both bridges, they'll be jackhammering and concrete's going to be falling. It's going to be a mess. So, I think it's best we just stay away from it for one day. And I truly believe it's a benefit that the public just goes a different route than to have to get stuck sitting for half an hour.
I think the trustees and I certainly concur.
Now, I apologize to the chief. This just kind of came up today. We've been talking about it, but I wanted to at least catch it at this board meeting because I won't have a chance. March 2nd would be right before the next board meeting. So I wanted to get his approval also. So I apologize, Craig, for that.
You have it.
Will there be some public service announcements about how will we handle that?
We will do that on our end, but IDOT will always give
Yes, I
7
know.
days notice
Okay.
too. So IDOT is involved. They'll hit the TV channels and all over the place, but we'll do the same with our e-alerts and all those good things. So, but it would start that midnight, that Saturday night, and they think it'll be less than 24 hours, but they're asking for 24 hours. So by Monday morning, we'll be back open, ready to go. Sound good?
Sounds real good.
All right, last item tonight, Lon Stalter submitted his notice to retire effective March 31st of this year, so I've been working with the mayor, and I would like to recommend the appointment of Bob Burton for the Superintendent of Water Treatment Department effective April 1, 2014. Just a little background on Bob. Most of you probably know Bob. But Bob began working for the city of Eureka at the Eureka Water Plant in 1973. He accepted a position as a water operator with the Village of Morton Water Treatment Department. Ed Crockett was the superintendent at the time, and that was in 1976. I was born in 1975. I was trying not to make Bob feel old today, but I've known Bob for a long time, since the day I moved here to Morton. But after working as a water operator for approximately 7 years, Bob was promoted to the position of chief water operator in 1980, which is about the same time that Lon Stalter took over. And he's served in that position for the past 33 years. So I think Bob is not only deserving of this, he's ready for it, and I would definitely like to recommend that he be appointed to that position.
I don't know that this requires a vote, but does anyone have a thought about this? We should also, if you get a chance to talk to Lon, Lon started with us, I think, in '78, went to the waste treatment plant, worked there for about 10 years. Then he switched over to water and has been with us a long time. I think he was 25 years in the water plant and was with us a lot longer than that. So he's done a great job. If you get a chance, give him a call or stop by and see him. He's agreed to spend, I think he said 7 weeks he would give us for the transition.
Yeah, so March 31st will be his last day, and he'll work with us in the transition. One other person that I wanted to mention is Mark Graff. These guys have worked together for well over 30-some years, all 3 of them, the top 3 guys out there. And my plan at this point, I talked to Mark today, was to move him over and promote him from lab tech to chief water operator. I'll figure out the lab tech as we go forward. But Mark also has been a very key person out there in the water treatment department. I'm very fortunate that those 2 are still there to hopefully transition the future as we go forward.
I think that the trustees are probably more aware than I was that several of these guys are not that far away from retirement. And that's a lot of talent, a lot of experience out there, and so we're going to have to start working on making sure that in the next couple of years that plant's well taken care of.
I think from what I know, those are good choices. Thank you.
And then the
Anything
one
else?
item that I mentioned to you, Mr. Mayor, is Bob does live a mile outside the village. We do have an ordinance that covers that. I asked for his
Yeah, for 30 years he's been answering call-outs.
Yeah.
It seems to me that he's able to get here.
I just want to open that up to you guys that, he's been on call, and he'll continue to be on call. We have 4 guys on call. That's every 4th week. They have to come in the plant on weekends. take the pager, and we don't want to shorten that to 3. So even in his time as superintendent, until we transition to another person in the department, he'll have to continue being on call until we find that 4th person to take that.
Any comments or suggestions?
Makes sense.
I think Craig handled this very well.
I support it. Good job.
Anything else, Craig?
That's it. Thank you.
Planning and zoning seat is empty. You have anything you'd like to fill in? for-
No planning and zoning business tonight, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Trustee Belsley?
Not this evening, Your Honor.
Trustee Hare?
No, I just wanted to real quickly remind everybody that the Farm and Fleet building upcoming, that the village will be taking possession of here sometime this fall, that any inquiries into that for purchasing or rent should come to Wendy or myself. We are working a couple of different possibilities, but I just wanted to kind of put that out there and remind everybody of that again, since we had some communication about that. So any inquiries about that should go to Wendy Farrell, the village administrator, or myself, and we'll be happy to follow up with those.
Thank you. Trustee Herman?
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Trustee Kaufman?
Nothing in it.
Trustee Newhouse?
One item, Your Honor, in conjunction with the approval of the plaza some months ago, we talked about the fundraising initiative, and with the fundraising initiative, a process of naming rights and markings, plaques or engravings to recognize those donations. And while I think they don't require formal approval from the village board, we'd like to have consensus. Trustee Herman and I serve together on the Downtown Development Committee, and I've asked Jennifer Daly and Scott Witzig, Scott representing Morton Community Foundation, to be with us this evening so we can answer questions. But basically you have in front of you 3 exhibits. And the first is the plaza funding chart. These are the items for which naming rights have been determined, and the amount of money that would represent. So you can look at the funding chart. And then in conjunction with those pledges, donations, however you want to think of them, those commitments, you might want to take a look first at the leading gifts brochure in front of you. And you will see the idea, the format for the various dedications. And each of these will be marked with a tasteful and discreet, appropriate plaque. Some of the designs are visible in the illustrations. There's one for supporting gifts on a smaller level here. I'm sure there'll be press coverage of this, but you can see, if you look in that one, for example, and look at the bench, you can see the plaque that would be applied to the bench recognizing the donation. So I think the objective this evening is to simply get consensus with the village board. We recognize that there may be wild card proposals from someone, and then that somebody makes an offer that's different from this. Certainly have the option of bringing that back for review, but the intention is to make sure that we have consistent, attractive, appropriate marking. And with that, I turn over to my colleague, Trustee Herman, and ask if you have any further comment, as we both sat there and went through this process last week.
You did an excellent job.
Thank you.
My only thought would be to maybe would like to expound upon how the money will go through the foundation. And I don't know if Scott would like to do that, or Jennifer, or what the plan is. But
funding mechanism.
The funding
itself.
mechanism, so people will know how they can give. Sure, yeah,
Come on up
please,
here.
yeah.
So the Community Foundation has done a number of these types of capital campaigns where we hold a, can I raise this?
Sure.
Sorry. where we establish a pass-through fund for donors who wish to give toward a particular capital campaign. Some of the recent projects that we've done have been the Morton Youth Baseball Stadium out at Westwood Park, the Idlewood Aquatic Park, the Idlewood Arts Pavilion, and recently we opened another similar fund for the Morton Disc Golf Park project that's going on out at Westwood Park. For all these projects, when donors make a gift to the Community Foundation, they receive a tax-deductible acknowledgement. We record all of those gifts, deposit the money, and keep a report for the organization that we're holding the fund for. And then we send out to all the donors a tax acknowledgement for each of them so that they have some documentation of their gift. So in return for that, then we take a 2% management fee on those gifts, and there's a maximum $1,000 fee per given check. So it's 2% up to $5,000 and anything, or $50,000. And then anything above a $50,000 donation would just remain a $1,000 management fee. I believe that covers pretty much how it works. If you have a question, I'd be glad to answer that.
Thank you.
Trying to decide who to ask. I talked to all three of the newspapers because I got the word they might not come tonight because of the weather and the light agenda. But all three said they would be very willing to help us get the word out on this. So I would ask Trustee Newhouse to, whoever was supposed to do this, to get some of these materials to all three of the reporters, because they said they'd really help us get behind this thing. And maybe a little explanation of how the foundation will help.
I think that's in the plan, Your Honor.
Super.
Make sure that we communicate with those people. There's always the possibility that some Good Samaritan could come and make a substantial donation outside of the anticipated range. We've kind of allowed for that, as I said, on the basis earlier that if that happens, then we'll come back and take a look at it. But as it stands now, all of these recognitions would be with a bronze plaque, for example, on the pillars at the entrance to the plaza, or engraved in a paver or in a wall or in a concrete walkway, so that, again, identifiable but discreet. So with that, I think we'd like to give the Economic Development Council and the Morton Community Foundation our recommendation to proceed. They will get funding underway 1st of March. And unless anybody has a question or a concern at this point. I don't think anything will come up that we can't come back and we get a surprise. We always come back. We won't fail to make sure that the appropriate committees of the board gets to look at it.
I'd say a job well done.
The committee is pretty comfortable with this, but we definitely wanted to bring it to the board and make sure everybody agrees with this philosophy and we could be flexible moving forward.
There's only going to be so much room for the big plaque, so I hope that people who are planning to give a nice amount won't wait too long. You know, you're going to want to have a nice plaque at the front entrance, and so I encourage those who plan to give a real nice donation to do it sooner rather than later.
Thank you, sir. I will encourage everyone to find a way to donate to the plaza. It's going to be Morton's Plaza. Okay, well, I think you have consensus.
One quick thing for anybody who's interested, if you want to, anybody asks you about that, you can sure send them to the EDC, to our website, to myself. We'll also have a link, hopefully on the village's website, with all the information, with the pledge form, donation form, and all the information, both the village site and the Morton EDC website. And I'm sure Scott will help us with some stuff on the foundation site as well. So it should be very easy for people to find the information, or they can always contact any of us. And we're happy to sit down and talk to them about any questions they might have about contribution to the project.
I had one other question, that's probably a good one for you. Can they donate over time, for example, put you in their will, or give you so much each year? Or I mean, maybe $5,000 might be a bit much for a family, and they could do it over a period of years and still get the plaque?
Yeah, that's a great question. We have right now, and Scott and I are talking a little bit about the appropriate wording, so we're going to do some modifications on this form before it goes out. But for any amount that is $1,000 or more, people will be able to pledge and pledge for over a period of 2 years. So people can give a contribution in 2015 and in 2016, which, you know, as you said, will allow people who want to give maybe a little bit more to stretch it out over several years, and they can let us know what kind of payment plan they'd like to have for those dollars right on the form. Any amount that's $1,000 or more, they'll be able to make a pledge, and that pledge will become due when our campaign is completed. So when we've reached 80% or more of our campaign, and we know the project will move forward, those pledges then will come due based on what they've asked in terms of invoicing them.
Great.
Well,
Yeah, Scott.
Would the community foundation then have a way that a fund where people moving forward, you know, in 3 years or something, if they wanted to donate to the plaza maintenance and or a new feature or something like that?
Yeah, a couple of thoughts on that. First of all, for those who are interested in giving highly appreciated marketable securities like cat stock that they own at a low basis and it's gained a lot of value over time, they can donate that stock to the community foundation, contact us, and we can give you the information, or contact their broker with the information they need. But because they have a capital gains tax issue with that highly appreciated stock, they may prefer to donate the stock directly to us, and we can liquidate that without any capital gains issue. The donor receives the full appreciated value of that stock as a tax deduction, even though they owned it at a low basis. So it's a good thing for people if they're interested in donating in that way. So they can contact us about that. The other thing is that you asked about in the future. Once the plaza is built, if there's an interest on the part of the EDC and or the village to establish a permanent endowment fund for ongoing expenses of the plaza, we'd be happy to help you with that as well. So then you can, with a minimum $10,000 gift to start it, you can open that up, and then that would be something where people could establish that in their as a beneficiary of their estate plan. And then over time, maybe larger amounts of money can be built up in that to be used for the upkeep of the plaza. Does that answer that?
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions? We've got the experts here. Now's the time.
One other thought for my fellow trustees. This endorsement includes the participation of the veterans organization, so this is fully consistent with their expectations as well.
You're still handling the blocks and the bricks and for the veterans?
Well, we are. Yeah, I didn't know if that was incorporated in.
Yeah, the pavers.
Oh, yes, I get to put it way down, right? Yeah, so So the veterans have already started their process of fundraising, so we knew it would be very important to incorporate the same size pavers that they are using in their fundraising campaign. So you see that those are incorporated, the exact same size pavers. Now, they have a current fundraising form out. That form they can continue to use that. This form also has all that information in with the exact same size pavers and everything in it. So it should be a seamless transition.
Terrific. Anything else?
No, sir. I think not.
Does anyone have any, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Just tender one thing as well, to your point, Ginger, you asked about kind of permanency of what happens at the next level and people planning for gifts beyond the initial campaign. If there's any uncertainty as to whether there will be something through the foundation, you are, as a village, a tax exempt organization which can accept gifts from people, and they can write off those gifts. So, you could always, if someone was making a long-term plan through their will for a testamentary gift or the like, it could always come through the village. And then if there's an account set up through the foundation, the village could either manage it themselves or pass it through. So that would be an option as well for someone looking long-term.
Thank you.
Maybe just quickly, I'd make a comment about our timeline, since perhaps that you'll be asked by people about that as well. Our goal is to get started with fundraising in March, and we'd like to have the majority of it completed before Pumpkin Festival. And I definitely think during Pumpkin Festival, we'll have a booth where people can buy pavers and stones, kind of the smaller gifts. But we'd really like to have at least 80% of the campaign completed by the end of the summer. So that's our goal. And I know Craig and I have spoken, and that timeline is great for the village because it means that over the fall and winter months, there's time then for construction drawings to be done. And if everything were to go perfectly, we could see the start of the plaza in next spring, as soon as next spring. So it's really exciting. Okay, great. Thank you.
If there's nothing else, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second by trustee.
All in favor?
Yeah, so,
Opposed?
I want to thank everyone who came out tonight. It looked like it was going to be a nasty night.